Good morning and happy Friday to everyone. Hope you all have been having a blessed week, and it's so good to see you, hear from you, and we're excited about today. So I am Iris Denise Owens, your host of the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving, Resiliency. And so on the line with me, as always, is my beautiful sister and co-host. Good morning, honey bunny.
Good morning, honey buddy. Good morning, everyone. Stephanie Deani Green.
Yes,
Nice
and
to
she
meet
showed
you.
her nails before, but we had an interruption from nature.
Yes, we did.
I told when we first started, it was like it had gone. It wasn't. There has never been. The sun was not out today, and then it went like kind of dim dark, like it was almost like it was 5:30 in the evening, and it's not even 12 o'clock yet, and then all of a sudden it went pitch black, like and the skies opened up and the hail came out. The
And
rain started
she's in
pouring.
Atlanta. That's what's
And
going
I'm in
on.
Atlanta, Steph is in Jersey, and then the power went out. So here we are back again. So thank goodness for, we're
We're gonna try this again.
gonna try it again. So hey guys, welcome.
Welcome back the second time today.
The second time today. We'll probably use that as a blooper at some point in time.
Exactly.
So we're going to go ahead and jump in. And today's topic is going to be a continuation of last week's topic, which was what women have influenced your life. And I'm simply going to tell a really quick story. And then Steph is going to jump in because our topic today is going to be repackaging your relationships. And so I just want to share that I made a conscious decision that this year for Women's History Month was that I was going to celebrate the women who have influenced my life. Of course, we all know, the Harriet Tubmans, Michelle Obama, but there are women in our lives that have influenced our lives, and I felt compelled to celebrate those women this year for Women's History Month. So I started with my grandmothers and my mother, my sister's circle, my best friends. I yesterday shared a woman who was she was my teacher, but also she is my soror now. And her name is Soror Helen Washington. She was my elementary school teacher at CES 132 in the Bronx when I was growing up. And fast forward 2015 was the chapter Epsilon Tor, which is ETOR chapter Delta Sigma Theta sorority in New York, where I was initiated and made. My soror Helen Washington, was also a founding member of that chapter. But to me, it was such a happening because in 2015, the chapter turned 50 years old. In 2015, I turned 50 years old. And then also that the fact that Soror Washington was a founding member of that chapter. I just thought that's history, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
how many of us have ran into our elementary school teachers? And I've actually been blessed to run into two of them.
Oh,
Believe
me
it.
too. Yeah, we had an elementary school reunion in
Oh,
2000.
wow, you did?
Yeah, we had an elementary school reunion 2018, I believe it was.
Wow, that's
No,
awesome.
2019. And yes, it was really nice. And six of our teachers came, and it was like
Wow,
75 of us. It was so beautiful.
that's
And yeah,
awesome.
it was just really, really, really nice. So it was like my third grade teacher. It was like a Mr. Laval. He wasn't my first grade teacher, but he was one of the first grade teachers. It was
Yes,
really nice because we had like three teachers of each grade.
that's
And
awesome.
oh, it was and when I tell you, we had a really, really wonderful time. We went, they set it up. We went to tour elementary school, like in
Oh man.
yeah, we went on the tour and we went to our classroom. So it was my girlfriend and Susan and another friend of ours, classroom friend Paul Malkia. The three of us was in the room because we had Mrs. Dale. We was like, remember we sat there, we sat
Oh,
there.
that is so
Oh, it was really cool.
awesome.
It was really cool. It
That
was
makes
really
me
nice.
now I'm like, I gotta go home and go to my school.
Yeah, but it's like somebody put this together And
That's awesome.
yeah, so it was really, he was a year ahead of me. And he started to put this whole thing together and it went off really good. It was like, wow, people were like elementary school reunion.
I know I've never
It was,
heard of an elementary school reunion,
I
but
know,
that's
who knew?
awesome. That's an
Who knew?
awesome idea.
Yeah, and they were like, what are y'all doing now? It was just amazing. And like some of them aren't teachers anymore, they just did that, they
Right.
got out of college, got teaching, but then they went on to other professions. But it was really, really nice. And like
Well,
someone really remembered us and stuff like that. We had,
well,
because we did the tour, we did lunch, then later on we came back together, had dinner.
nice. Well, that's
It
what
was
was amazing about this, because she's my Sora, but she was also a teacher to many of the people I grew up with in elementary school and went through junior high school with, and so on, that I'm still friends with. So it was interesting to see how so many people came and posted on my Facebook page about the post and about Sora Washington. And so I just want to say, just remember the women who really do impact your life, not just the women, but the people. But because it is Women's History Month, I focused on the women who have impacted my life. And so I just want to say, Sora Washington, you rock, you are awesome, you're amazing. I love you. And thank you for being who you are. So we will proceed today with repackaging your relationships. And so my co-host, my sister, she is going to lead the pack today. And so Steph, jump right in.
well, like I shared with you, I was sharing with Iris. I was having lunch with one of my girlfriends, and we were just talking about different things. And she had used the term repackaging, a relationship. And I'm
Mhm.
like, what an interesting, term to use for that. And it's
Right.
just really made me think. I'm like, oh my God, that was something we got to talk about because relationships are constantly in repackaging mode when you really think about it because they,
Yes.
they they're never the same. They change, not to say bad, they get better, what I mean, or sometimes they turn for worse, but
Right.
they do. And sometimes what you do have to sit back. I said once a year you should step back and look at all your relationships, your friendships, all your different types of relationship, and
Yes.
what's still working for you and what isn't. And in that term, when you're doing that, you're actually repackaging the relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And some people you have become closer to, some people you're not as close as you used to be. Some people like, because some friends, which I realize is that like people are like, oh, why are you still friends with them? Because they have kind of like become more like family.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So they're always going to be there, but the dynamic sometimes of the relationship itself has changed. But
Yes.
because you're family, because like families, like you, yes, you're family, but you don't always have a close friendship within that relationship with the family member.
Correct.
Or sometimes you have a very close relationship. Like my older sister, we're
Mm-hmm.
sisters, but we're very close friends. We're friends.
Right.
So, so it's different, but it's important. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think people think that's something bad. It's nothing bad because I
Yes.
think when you try to make something what it isn't,
Mm.
that's bad.
Right.
You know, you have to look at it for what it is. Because sometimes you have relationships, that you see somebody every day, and that's maybe different from a relationship with somebody you don't see every day. But
Mm-hmm.
the person you don't see every day, you might probably be closer to, than the person you see every day. It's
Correct.
just different. I mean, it's just different. I mean, you share different things with different people, and that's okay. And sometimes, yeah, even when you look at your children, because
Absolutely.
those relationships are constantly being repackaged as your child grows and go through their own stages in their life. You're
Correct.
always going to be their parent, their mother, their father, but they're not a toddler anymore. Your daughter, if you raise her right, she's growing into her own womanhood. Your
Correct.
son, you raise him right, he's growing into his own manhood.
Absolutely.
So you cannot say, I want you to be a woman, I want you to be a man, and you still treat them like they're a child.
Correct.
You have to repackage that relationship, you know, and you have to get out of the way. But those are probably the
Absolutely.
hardest relationships to repackage
Yes.
because they're like, yeah, oh my baby, and they
Yes.
all will always
Yes.
be your babies, but they're not
Yes.
a baby.
Right.
So it's really, really different. It's like when I had to, my friend came from Japan. He lives in Queens. My daughter lives in Queens. I said to her, I said, if I drop them off early, 'cause I live in Queens, my daughter lives in Queens. I said, if I drop them off early, 'cause I live in Queens, my daughter lives in Queens. I said, if I drop them off early, maybe I'll come by and visit you. She calls me, Mom, are you coming by? I said, it was like 9:30. I said, well, I said, if you're tired, well, I just got in from class, whatever. And she said, yeah, I want you to come by. So I get to our building. There's no parking. And I already knew that. So I just thought she was going to come downstairs, bring Dash down. That's her
Mm-hmm.
Pomeranian. So, I could visit with them for a minute. Oh, Mommy, you're not coming upstairs? So I said to,
Right.
so I said to the concierge, I said, look, I said, I have my hazards on, I'm in front. Nobody was there. And he said, yeah, I said, I said, I'm gonna go upstairs. And so she was so happy I came upstairs, but she
Yes.
wanted me to come upstairs. And that was good though. That was a nice thing, you know what I mean?
Yes.
He comes upstairs and visit with me and Dash. I went up there for like 20 minutes and hung out with them. Yeah, so it was nice. But you have to recognize that. And I think that we do ourselves a disservice and the other person a disservice when we don't look into those relationships and think they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like when my niece was getting older and she is gonna be 31 this year, right? When she was getting older, no, actually she's gonna be 32 because her and my daughter are 10 years apart. When she was getting older, my husband at the time said, like, why do you speak to her like that? I said, because she's not a little girl anymore.
Right.
You have to change that conversation.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And even with your children, the same way. You cannot speak to your children like, they're 10 and you're still speaking to them like they're 2 or
Right.
4.
Right.
As they get older, you have to change your terminology, the way you speak to them. And it's important. So, but that helps you too to recognize that they're getting older,
Yes.
and that they're becoming adults like you.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And so, but like a lot of people want to live in the past, or just like whatever your friends you had in college. Some people you're still friends with, some people you aren't, but those relationships have been repackaged. Your roommates in college, you're not like roommate. You know what I mean? This is a whole different kind of relationship.
Oh,
But then you do,
absolutely.
yeah, but you do have those people that live in the past, or you have the person that moves on, and then they just want to keep you there. You have to grow, and the thing is, I think some people are afraid of growth in a lot of ways because it means that we're not going to be together anymore. Things are going to change, but it's nothing. Change is good, but because the reality is, we change each and every day. You know,
Absolutely. At
it's
least we
little.
should.
Well, no, we do whether we want to or not,
Right.
because
We
we have
should.
no we have no control of anything going on around us.
Right.
So increments of your life changes a little bit. You don't notice it because it's such a small, minute change.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're like in the same place, sitting in the same place, it's still changing just because things around you are changing.
Yes.
You know, so it happens whether you're on board with it or not. But you should be on board with it, and you should want to grow and change. And keep working on yourself.
I like what you
Yeah.
said about your relationships with your children, because I think many times, you know, my ex-husband and I always made a conscious decision that when our children, even when they were in the womb, that we never did the baby talk. We never
Mm.
spoke to our children with the oh Google, blah, blah, blah. Like we always English. We spoke
Mhm,
to our
mhm,
children in full sentences in English, in
mhm,
and spoke to them with the level of intelligence in which we knew that they had and expected them to have, and then to help them grow into their levels of intelligence and being inquisitive and being smart.
mhm,
My mother was one who, when I was growing up, never would allow me to use slang,
mhm,
you know. And then, and I would used to be like, what's wrong with her? And she was like, that is not, you will never come in the house and yo me or yo, that sort of thing.
mhm,
And it was so interesting because I've always spoken proper English. Now, it's not to say I don't know how to speak
mhm,
slang or speak broken
mhm,
English. I can. And when I'm with my family or my friends, we say all kinds of crazy things to one another,
mhm,
right? But
mhm,
we know how to speak properly with when we are in different circles, right? But I remember when I first moved to Atlanta and I was 23 years old, and there was this saying in Atlanta, and everyone said, I know that's right. I know that's right. I mean, it was a thing. I know that's right. And so I remember, and of course, moving to Atlanta from New York, people would immediately, you're not from here, are you? No, I'm not, you know. And then, and they're like, And so after I had been here several years, people will still ask me, how come you don't claim Atlanta as home? Because it's not my home. This is not where I was born and raised. You know, I love it here, but it's not where I was born and raised. But my point was that one day I'm talking on the phone with a client, and I'm having a conversation, and we were, you know, having small talk with one another. So we're getting comfortable with one another.
Mhm.
And my client says something, and I heard the words, and I was like, I know it. I pulled that all the way back.
Oh
And I
Lord.
vowed to myself that I would never, ever say that, because that's what happens when we don't understand that sometimes you can't do certain things with certain people. And it's the
Mhm,
same thing with your children. Your
mhm.
children, as they grow, you teach them the right way, and they know it. They know the right way, even when they divert from it, right?
Mhm,
But it's
mhm,
interesting that as they become into adulthood, you
mhm.
can't, like, if they don't live at your house anymore, you can't be the parent who's then calling them going, why aren't you home? I'm sorry, what?
Exactly.
And I know then there are a lot of parents who disagree with that.
Not a
You know,
lot. Like, well,
there
if I
are a
go to my
lot.
daughter, I respect her home. Like, it was something I was doing. I was like, what's the bed? I said, oh, mommy, you get to go out the refrigerator. Oh, to the door, mommy. I mean, because I think that's very, very important. You
It
have to be
is.
like, I mean, even with my children, my mother was very respectful because they ate everything. My children did not eat red meat. My children, like, and they mostly
Right,
fed organic. So when she would check with me, my like, Stephanie, is that okay? And that's what you do. That's respectful. I've seen parents
right,
be like, you ate it. I'm gonna feed them whatever I want to feed them. That's not how you
right,
do things.
right.
That's
I
very
raised
disrespectful.
you, and so why can't I raise? And we have to realize that, be respectful of other people's wishes, right?
Exactly.
Whether
Exactly.
it's your children or it's your grandchildren, or being growing into adulthood is something, or growing into relationships, because that's what we're focusing on. Growing into relationships, because the dynamics of a relationship changes, especially from parent to child to young adult to parent,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. It's
And
true.
then
Yes.
also to adult, to parents becoming elderly or getting older and needing maybe care.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like the roles sometimes reverse,
Reverse. Mm-hmm. It's
you
true.
know, and a lot of us are not prepared for that, because if you've always been treated like you're still the child, then you're like,
Exactly.
I don't know what to do with that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
it repackaging is important. And like you said, Steph, I knew a guy who I was once did business with, and he said that every year at the beginning on January 1st, he would go through his phone, he would go through his Facebook page, he would go through whatever communications that he had where he communicated with people. And he would go through the list of people, like especially if his phone, if he realized that he had not spoken to this person in the whole year past, he would
Mm-hmm.
delete them
Mm-hmm.
out of his phone, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that's, I don't know,
Harsh.
good.
It's very harsh.
Yeah, that was kind of harsh to me.
That definitely was.
because the truth is, I think we all have some relationships with people who we only do speak to maybe once a year or maybe every other year. I'm serious. And it doesn't mean
Well,
that the
I'm the queen of that.
relationship,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not.
yeah, it doesn't mean the
I
relationship is any
exactly.
less of a relationship. It's just a different type of relationship. And I think,
I don't even know if it's a different type of relationship. I think that like I ran into like I went out and this is maybe like 2017 or whatever, and I got a chance to hang out with like childhood friend. She
uh-huh,
moved from Teaneck and moved to North Carolina when we were like in 10th grade. And I mean, like, so for me, it was just like we talked yesterday. And
oh,
we at this point we
see,
probably haven't
yeah,
talked in like 10 years. You know what I'm
right,
saying? So certain things you feel like that with, and and we just kind of like picked up.
right,
And then I same thing happened with somebody else. And I realized that oh, we're not gonna pick up like we just talked yesterday. It was,
Right. It's not going to happen this time.
it's not gonna happen, and that's okay too, you know. But yeah, so because sometimes, you know, just cut. I see, and I tell my daughter this all the time. Oh, I have no friend. I said, man, just because you don't speak to someone for a while doesn't mean you're no longer friends. You know, it's just
Yes.
that because once you get busy in your own life, you know, you have a lot going on. You don't have the same amount
Right.
of time. But you know, and I can honestly tell you that's the one thing I do love about texting, because sometimes, you know, it's like I don't have, but you could send somebody a text and say, you know, I was really thinking about you.
Right.
Not necessarily, I don't do a lot of Facebook, but like I could send you a text. I was thinking about you and just let you know that, you know, let's try to catch up soon, you know, something of
Right.
that nature.
Right.
That's something that's really beautiful about it, because it is not, it's like 24 hours in a day. But when you're talking about, you know, running a business, your children, your husband, you know, going to school, taking, you know, I'm
Yeah.
always taking classes. So, you know,
Time
it's
gets
like, it's
away from you.
the time gets away, and then, you know, and then self-care, you know, the
Yes.
thing is that you have to take care of yourself, because so you can have to be here on this earth and be healthy to spend time with, you know, your children, your
Right. And your
grandchildren, your
right.
friends, your
And your
family.
friends. And yeah.
And then when you have a really big family like I have, you know what I
Right.
mean, you know, it becomes a lot, you know what I mean. I have, you know, 11 siblings.
Hmm.
So exactly, you know, what I mean, well now one of my brothers passed, but it's like a lot, you know, and not that I have, we're siblings, but we're not all friends like that. You know, it's friendships in there, but we're not all close. But when just for the ones I run around with are my cousins who are like my siblings, you know, that's a lot. I have a whole bunch of cousins, you know
Right.
what I mean? Because it's like it's 12 of them, my mother and her sisters, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's, you know, so it's a lot, you know. And I have very close to my nieces, you know, stuff like that, who are like, some of them are very close to my age. And so it's interesting, but you have to take your time, look, even those relationships, and not feel away. It's like my one niece, I know her schedule, she works, you know what I mean, I may not hear from her for a year,
Right.
or 6 to 9 months. So I'm not that person. You know, some people like, I haven't heard from you. I'm like, oh my God. Like, if you're
Right.
gonna do me, if then you don't know who I am.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then sometimes I just have to rebuild my own self. So when I need to do that, I can't really be dealing with people when I'm doing that. You know, because you have to repackage I have to repackage my whole life. So when you have to repackage your life, you know, that's a lot
Mm-hmm.
also. So I mean, and you cannot do that with people. You got to do it for you. It has to come. You have to do it inside yourself.
Right.
You know, people. That's like a thing you do with God.
Right.
So, you know, and sometimes, you know, people understand it, sometimes people don't. So, you know, but you have to look at those things and see what they are, what's working, what's not working, and know, you know, and realize what you give each other. Like, what is that relationship about too?
That and
Because
that's and that's very true, because
Mhm,
sometimes you have encountered people in life, right? And
mhm,
I found this out very early on in life, and I think it really started for me after I had children,
mhm,
because you realize that, so all of you are friends, right? You have a circle of friends, but
mhm,
all of you, once you graduate from high school, everybody's life disperses in so many different directions,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Some people
mhm,
get married, some people have babies, some people go to the military, some people take on jobs that consumes all of their time, some
mhm,
people leave the whole entire state and go and travel the world or whatever it is that they're doing. But
mhm.
then you have to realize that our lives don't mirror one another anymore. I.e., like when
Exactly.
you were in
Mhm,
high school, where we
mhm,
all were on the same schedule, most of
mhm,
us,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
We all went
mhm,
to school. Some of us had after school jobs. Some of us played
mhm,
sports after school. Some of us, just hung out with our girlfriends, our boyfriends, whatever it was. But it was life. Life was a lot more simpler. We didn't have all these things to juggle per se. And I
mhm.
realized that at a point after I had children, that my friends who did not have children still had the ability to go and hang out and
Mhm,
party and do all
mhm,
that. And then
mhm.
I was like, oh man, I'm missing all the hanging out and I'm missing the party. Well, no, I wasn't, because I was 29 by the time I had my first child. So all my partying had certainly been done, right? I didn't like partying to me was not that. And then even when I did have the opportunity to go out and party, I realized that no judgment, no knock against the friends who were still doing it. I just found that it didn't mean the same to me anymore. Like I would go out and I'd have a good time, but then after a while I'd be like, okay, you know what? This I'm ready to go home. And if I don't do this again for another 10 years, I'm good.
I know that's right.
And
I
it's
know
not,
that's right.
and it wasn't not seeing the friends, it was how I was seeing, like being in a loud club or being someplace where it's all this loud and noise and the cigar club, the this club. I just realized that that's not how I wanted to spend my time. And so
And
I
there
would
you go. It's repackaging. It's so, and
repackaging.
that's
And
okay.
that's
You know what I
okay
mean?
because I
That's okay.
realized I'm a social butterfly by all means. I love to be around people. I love to be with my friends. I like to be with my family. I love to be with people. I love to talk. But I also realized I love opportunities of face-to-face interaction where two or three, four, maybe five of us are gathered, that everyone has the ability to speak their truth
Engage.
and to
Engage.
engage. Exactly.
Mhm.
I think when you're in a room with 100 people,
Oh,
you're not engaging. You may
oh
be
no.
engaging only with one or two people, right?
Exactly.
And a
Exactly.
lot of times we're still missing things because
Mhm.
in a room full of people, most of us are invisible.
Mhm. Of
Isn't that, does
course.
that make, we're invisible because there's so much going on in the
Mhm.
room
Mhm.
that most of us, you can only focus on one thing
Mhm.
really, truly 100% at a time. Many of us, I know we multitask and we believe that I can talk on the phone and I can write letters and I can watch
Well,
TV,
that's not real.
but I'm listening to you. That's not true. The
That's not
brain
real.
does not function that way. I want you all to understand that the brain, human beings are not made to multitask. We
Mhm.
multitask, but we were not designed that way because we really can only focus on one thing at a time to do it efficiently and effectively, right? But we manage somehow around multitasking. But it's interesting, like me, I always have to tell myself to learn how to listen more than to talk more, right?
Yeah. Talk
That's
less.
right. I mean, right, to talk
Listen
less,
more. Talk less.
right?
Exactly. Uh-huh.
Then because like I have to talk to myself because sometimes when I'm engaged with someone, I am listening to you, but it's sometimes like when the thought comes to my mind, I'm like, I want to say it, but I have to like learn how to go, no, you have to let that person express,
Yes. Yes.
let that
Exactly.
person share. And then if they ask or they give you the opportunity, then I get to share what it is that I wanted to share.
Or if they ask for your advice, because we do sometimes the unsolicited advice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so,
That's a whole other story right there.
that's a whole, yeah,
But
getting,
the but I want to say with relationships just in general, and the repackaging of relationships also, it's like, sometimes you are on the phone with someone and you get off the phone, you feel like every inch of your body is just drained. That that's not a
yeah,
healthy relationship.
that's not a help, especially
Yeah,
if that's the way it always is. If that's the way it
exactly.
always is,
Yes,
that is not a
yes.
healthy relationship.
That whomever
Don't
you
let
may be
people
talking
drain you of
to.
your energy.
Exactly. But now I can see when the relationship is like the conversation is going somewhere that my spirit just don't want to go. Gotta go. I will talk to you later. You know what I mean? Because I don't go there. Just that doesn't mean like whatever that, because that negativity, I really try to lessen it as much as possible in my life. And when you come and you'll be negative and try to make me feel like some kind of way and you didn't do this, oh Lord, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Or even the same thing with going visiting people, going in people's homes. You know what I mean? Like I know someone, she has a beautiful home, but she doesn't want to make you feel comfortable in her home. So I have made the choice. I just really don't go to your home
Mm,
because if
yeah,
it's all of this, you don't need to go somewhere where it's anxiety. You
yeah,
know, because
absolutely.
when you go to some like I don't like some people like my girlfriend, you cannot wear shoes in her house. I respect, you know what I mean? You don't wear shoes in her house, you know what I
Right.
mean? I know I take my little footage, you know what I mean? But I know some people feel like that's very like who they think they are. I don't know, like that's how they do things in their home. And
Right.
you have to respect that. If you don't want to do it, then just don't go. And that's okay too, you
Right.
know. But it's the same thing. It's about, or they never did that before. Now all of a sudden they got a house. It goes through all these things, and now they got a house. They think they're so good. But when I think about it, I don't do it, but I understand what that's about.
Right.
You know,
Right.
when you come to the house, you bring, if you don't take your shoes off or you don't wipe your feet really good. And
You
it's
bring all,
always
yeah.
has been, because when you think about it, the mat had always been a really big thing with those hard bristles.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like it's at one point people just stopped really but those were big things. And people just say, wipe your feet, especially like back in the day. And I think people don't really realize that, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because the idea is like, get all that off your shoe before you walk in my
Bring it
home.
in the house. Right.
Exactly. And so now, but people are just like, the reality is like, you have kids, small babies, take your shoes off. Like my sister, she didn't always, but she has like grandkids, take your shoes off when you
Yeah.
come in the house,
Because the kids are on the floor and the kids
It's
are
all-
rolling around on the floor. And I don't, I just want to make sure the kids are as safe as possible and the floors are as clean
exactly.
as
But
possible.
you gotta respect. I never forget, you gotta respect people. But when my mom moved, first she moved back to Savannah and she came up to visit me. Went to visit over to my kid's godmother's house. And they had dinner with my mom. And I don't think I had Savion yet. I may not even had Savannah yet, thinking about it. And my mother went upstairs to their they went to the bathroom and she went in there and smoked a cigarette. Oh my God. And so when she came out, my girlfriend's husband said to her, Ma, I smell cigarette smoke in your house. You're not allowed to smoke cigarettes in our house. I could have crawled under the table somewhere. I was like so embarrassed. But
Yeah.
I was nothing to say because you have to respect people's home.
Right.
But then when she went to the doctor and they said, we got to run some tests. We think we may see a spot on your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother smoked for like 45 years,
Mm-hmm.
and so and I used to always tell her, you gotta stop smoking. And she did like apologize and made my asthma really, really bad. Both her and my father smoke. I'd be in the backseat just like, but it made my
Mm-hmm.
asthma really bad. But they told when she told her that, and then she would say to me, oh, it's hard, you're addicted, you can't do that. That day the doctor told her that, she stopped smoking that day, literally.
Amen.
And lucky
Amen.
enough, nothing came from it. But it did cause
Reality is a is a is
but
a
check it
great
out.
equalizer.
But not only that, I smoke cigarette. I smoke cigarette. Nobody smokes a cigarette around me. Nobody smokes a cigarette around me. She became like
So now
that
she's the cigarette patrol lady. See?
exactly.
Repackaging your relationship with yourself and with cigarettes.
It was so funny. I had to look at her like, you are a mess, okay?
Yes. Yes.
You
But
know?
I think as we get older and as we age and as we live longer and
Yeah,
we start to evolve, which is very
we
important
should.
in life. Evolving is important, and I think a lot of times, sometimes we get stuck on one place in life and we refuse to move
I
right,
know.
left, forward, back. We just stay in that
Yeah,
place.
you see those people because they just they look they're literally turning into stone. They're so rigid, but they walk rigid. Their bodies are rigid.
Yeah.
Their skin doesn't have any flex. Like it's like
No
wow,
laugh, no jokes, no,
no nothing, no
so
elasticity.
always
You're
so
just rigid.
serious. And then,
It's like really, you can't stay rooted like that. We're not trees. You know
no,
what I'm saying? And so, but I have a saying. It goes like, the more you live, the more you learn.
amen.
And so the longer you live, the more you learn. And you will, and as you should, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't know. Because the first thing you would say, oh, I went on a date with that guy. Remember I told you, the one that looks up the information and
Yes.
like know everything. I was like, yeah, but we never gonna go out really on a date again because like you can know everything. That's a problem because nobody knows everything. They'll be like,
No,
I'm 100 years
nobody
old.
knows everything. No,
My aunt was 101, and when she passed, I never heard her say, "I know everything," because you don't.
you don't.
You know, the
Because
reality
again,
is
life is, you know everything about everything you know about,
that's right. Exactly.
but you don't
Exactly.
know
You
everything
don't know
about
what's going on.
everything else that's going on in the world.
Exactly.
That
And first of
part,
all,
you know,
it's
you
true,
know
because you
everything
never
about everything you know about. You don't know everything about everything that's going on, though. Yeah.
you don't, because first of all, we are eternal human beings. You know
Yes,
what I
we
mean?
are.
Our spirits live on,
Yeah.
and you're never gonna get it done.
Nope.
So you do what you can do, and that's good.
That's
But you
right.
don't know everything, because it's forever. You're forever learning, and forever learning is rooted in youthfulness,
Absolutely. And being
and that's what
open-minded to be open to new things and to different things.
exactly. Just like this whole
One
thing,
of the
my
things as human
good.
beings that we are very guilty of is that's not the way we used to do it.
Yeah,
That's
well,
not the way we do it. We used to
yeah,
do it.
well.
Okay, well, how many times are you going to keep using the used to do it?
As
Because
an
at some
excuse,
point
not
in
to do it.
time, the way
As an
we
excuse
used to
not to do
do it wears out.
it. Exactly.
So can we not get stuck there, right?
Let me
Um,
tell you, this thing is changing right now. Like the way, people don't see it, but these gas prices. Let me tell you, electric cars, Ford, they have just divided their company in half.
yes, yes, they have.
Half is gas, half is electric.
Repackaging the relationship, repackaging the
Hello, I mean
product.
it's coming. You know what I mean?
Even
Exactly.
the thing that has worked for Ford all these many years, Ford recognizes I need to repackage. They didn't say
You know,
they abandoned what they
that's
started
right.
with. They are splitting and learning and realizing in order to stay alive. And I think that's the biggest part about repackaging. We don't realize that you die if you continue to try to live and operate in a moment of time the same way when everybody else is going this way and you're still like, this is the way I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it this way and I don't care.
You become a dinosaur,
Right, and
and
you
what
get
is
left behind.
dinosaur?
And you get
Exactly.
left behind. Yeah.
Because but what Ford said, we're going to become Tesla's number one competitor.
Amen.
That's what Ford said. And
Right.
it's coming. Just like we're going to go through a big change next year in this country, that they're going to get rid of daylight. They're going to continue with daylight savings time. So are they going to get rid of daylight? So like the
They're gonna
clocks are
get
going to
rid of
stay.
it. So that
They're going to
means
get rid
we
of
will
daylight
no
savings
longer have to do
time.
this
Exactly. And you know how
changing the
long,
clocks, flipping back and forth, da da
exactly.
da da da.
And you know
And
how
I'm, you
long
know
that's
what?
been in effect. Benjamin
I'm
Franklin
grateful for that.
created
I'm
Benjamin
grateful for
Franklin
that.
created that. I am too, but he recreated that for the farmers. That's
Yes.
why it was originally created by Benjamin Franklin. So that's
Yes.
going to be a big change in this
Yes.
country. But it's
Yes.
like, so it's like, it's repackaging. Like now I have a new investment group, and he's like, we are only funding these accounts with Bitcoin. You know, if you don't know how to buy Bitcoin, you better learn how to buy
Right.
Bitcoin, because other
Right.
than that, it's not going to happen, because that's not going anywhere. And what people
Nope.
don't realize is that, paper money wasn't always the case.
Mm-mm.
That was just something that it's been changing, since we have been existent, and now
Right.
it's going to change again. But if
Yep.
that's the only thing that you knew, you know, but it's not, it's changing, and it's going to change. A lot of people can't get with it. Oh, what's that about? What's this about? And there's people and it's even younger people that really don't know anything about it, which is amazing to me, because these are the things I think they should be teaching them in school.
Yeah, of course. And
It's
and
important.
and like you said, as we get older, um, you can't teach someone something you don't know, right?
Hello.
And so
So true.
this is why it's important to always have your mind to read, to find out, to investigate, to look into,
Mhm,
to
mhm.
always it's and what I think the biggest thing about repackaging is not just repackaging your relationships, but repackaging yourself,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Ever evolving.
Ever
As long as you
evolving.
have
That's right.
breath, there is always the opportunity to repackage yourself, repackage
Mhm.
how you dress, repackage how you think, repackage how
Absolutely.
you act, repackage how you
Right,
speak.
right, right.
There
Mhm.
is the opportunity to always reinvent oneself. You
Yes, you
know,
better.
no,
It's your own.
there's nothing written anywhere that says you must remain the same.
Exactly.
There is not, it is not written
Mhm.
anywhere.
It isn't.
right?
It isn't.
And
Exactly.
so it's real important to remember that, and real important to remember that even when we see someone else changing, to not get all up in arms about it and be like, how dare you change and leave me here? No, if you
No,
bothered by them
exactly.
changing, you better jump on a train and figure out how they're changing and learn how you need to change too. Because
Even sometimes when people are not changed, like I know with Savannah has another godmother. She has two godmothers, and we had lost touch for a while, and we got back in touch. And so I was having something, and she's like 11 years older than me, and she was like, "Oh, I don't come home late at night by myself." I was like, "Oh, okay, I
mm-hmm,
got you," and I felt, for her. And I was like, but it was something for me to put in my bag, be like, well, I will never do that. You know what I mean? I go wherever it comes, like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes repackaging means that you learn something from somebody that you got to put in the bag of, that will never be me.
yeah,
You know
you
what I
can't do
mean?
that. Yeah,
Exactly.
I always
Because
say
it's
I
like,
don't want to live life with the woulda, coulda, shoulda. I should have
no,
had, I
no,
would have had, I
no,
could have had. If I had,
exactly.
because
If I have a
life,
breath in my body, I'm
so
gonna
much to
go.
do. There's so
It's
much
true.
to do.
And be able to go and come, whatever. Like my daughter, when she was, and she told me she remembered this recently, and I would always talk to her about driving.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Oh, one day she said, oh, mommy, I'm scared to drive, whatever." I was like, "Look, you will learn how to drive, and you will drive well." And they still, neither one of them know how to drive a stick. I said, "When you drive a stick, you drive anything. I know how to drive a stick. I used to always drive a stick." And I said to her, I said, she was like, "Okay, that girl knows she is a driver." And she's like, "Thank you, Jesus." You know what I mean? So you can take yourself anywhere you gotta go.
I remember the
Even if you
first time
don't own
she
a car,
drove you, she
you
drove
know,
to Savannah.
uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. When
Savannah drove to Savannah.
she drove to Savannah, and then when I never forget, for when she was like 17, maybe 16, because she had a permit, and I wanted to go to Houston's in the city for my birthday. And I made her drive, and her father was like, "Oh, she's not gonna be able to drive that Lincoln Tunnel." I said, "She's gonna drive through Lincoln Tunnel today."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I had a handle on her with that. What I didn't that much with my son, who's 2 years younger than her,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not the same driver like she is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her and my niece too. She's a driver. You know what I mean? But because that's important, because it's still amazing to me how a lot of women that still don't drive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Or just
Yep.
certain places they don't drive, or
Yep.
I mean, well, I get that. Certain places I don't drive, like neighborhoods and things of that nature.
Right.
I need to know where I'm going. Thank God for GPSs these
But
days.
not to be scared to
Exactly.
where that you are cutting off a part, like there's something you could really garner or gain from
Mhm.
going a place or doing something, and you just have in your mind said to yourself, I can't go there, I'm not going there, and that's it. So
Yeah, that's not like good. Like I
that's
get on.
not good.
I mean, I was traveling, getting on a plane by myself, whatever. I told you I took my first plane ride by myself when I was 2 years old. 2 years old, I flew out of JFK to
Mm, mm,
Savannah, Georgia.
mm,
And like so, and I never forget the what do you call it, the stewardess. She sat me next to a lady who was flying. She had a baby, and I just remember she was feeding that baby something. That baby bottle looked so nasty to me. I was like, oh my god. I never. That's
well,
like saying she remembered.
lucky for you, she didn't offer you any.
I was not drinking out of a baby bottle at 2 years old.
I said, lucky for you, she didn't offer you any, because
I was like, ooh, let's.
she could have taken on the mother's role and been like, you should just eat this right here. This is good. Oh,
You're good.
so
And sure enough, my aunts were right there to meet me at the gate.
I love
They
it.
walked me off. Yeah, so it was good. We got pictures like of me there when my mother came, and times when me and my mom would go. You have all these pictures of me being little, because we used to walk out to the plane and just walk on
Yeah,
at that
on the
point.
tarmac. Yep,
And then
I remember that. Oh
I'm a little
yes.
girl on the tarmac. I'd be like 2, 3 years old.
Well,
Yep.
you could, and then
I,
that's when you could literally walk down to the gate and watch the planes take off and
I
watch the
know,
people
it's
get
so
off the plane.
beautiful.
I know. Now we can't even look.
Well, it's
You
beautiful the
can't
way
get
it's
nowhere.
bad. Yeah, but you can still watch the planes take off from the window. But if it's bad weather, you'd be like, "Oh,
Yes.
that was a that's
Yeah.
different." Like
Yeah.
you'd be happy for the cover. Now you got the air conditioner, or you got the heat. You don't have to worry about getting wet or whatever.
Yes.
Yes. But
So
everything is nothing wrong with repackaging.
no, absolutely.
Like the only thing I don't like about repackaging right now, they're repackaging our food and our lotions and stuff, and they're like I said, increments. they're getting smaller, the
Oh yeah,
packaging.
and they're becoming more expensive. But that's been going on for the last 5 years.
Oh, forever.
You know, that's been going on for the last 5 years. You know, I always say the one thing, if you want to really feel cheated, is buy a bag of chips.
Oh,
Because
Lord,
you buy a bag of chips, you spend $3, and if you like natural chips, or you know, you think you're getting better chips, right?
Exactly.
You spending dang near $4, $5 for a bag of chips, and the big old bag, and it's not even a half a bag of chips, because it's really a quarter bag of chips. If you cut the top of the bag off, there is nothing falling out of there, you know.
It's
So
air.
Yeah, air.
It's good in one sense that you're not eating so much of that, because nothing's really
No,
that
but
good.
I want what I paid for. I want my chips.
Well, the idea is like, we want you to be healthy, so I'm not giving that much now.
Okay, I'll repackage my thought then on that. I'll look at it that they're looking out for my health.
Yeah. That's the thing too. You gotta switch your mindset. See?
Yes.
So then you won't get so frustrated.
Yes, that's a good idea. Instead of me thinking that you're cheating me.
Gulp cups, those Cokes and all that hadn't changed though.
I wish they would repackage that, because if you go to Wendy's drinks are all, what is it? I think Wendy's drinks is all $1. And like McDonald's, I think, if they still do that. And Wendy's drinks are like a 32-ounce drink. If not, it's like this huge cup. I don't care what you buy, you get this huge drink. And I'm like, who needs that amount of liquid? Of sweet tea? You gotta be kidding me. It's like you're drinking a half a gallon of tea in one sitting.
Oh Lord. Wow,
yeah.
How bad is
and especially that, you know, in the South, you get sweet tea. See, up north, you don't get sweet tea, right? But down here, everything is sweet.
Yeah, and sweet tea is a big thing. And I don't even like sweet tea. I don't like sweetening. I don't put anything in my tea. So I like no sugar.
Everything here is sweet tea. So my lovely child, who was raised here, talking about, well, you shouldn't have had me in the South, because she is a sweet girl. She could drink sweet tea all day, every day. And I
really?
Oh my God. Her oldest, now I used to tell her, I need you to, now will literally take water and pour it into Izzy's drinks. Like, she's like, your sugar intake is way too high. She's like, she pours water into her drinks. Like, I need you to cut that in half or something. And I'm like,
that's actually like with my kids. I didn't allow them really to drink juice, but I used to get the cranberry juice, and I used to fill it half with water.
Yeah.
I just half like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they're not really, I mean, now once they start working, all this junk starts showing up in my house. I'm like, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Milk and water, you know, but they're tea drinkers. So they like their tea.
Yes.
They're both tea drinkers. You know, I'll go smash, have all different teas. Savion buys all his little teas. So we're like tea drinkers. I think they put honey.
Yes, I do too. I use honey or brown sugar.
Only time I put honey is if I feel like maybe I need like to clear up a little bit. I mean, because the honey and lemon kind of thing. But other than that, I really don't like anything sweet in my tea.
I even put honey in my smoothies.
Really?
Yes. Like today, and this is just a side note, because we're getting ready to tell you all bye, but just a little side note that I had and I don't, remember, I don't like blueberries, but I started consuming blueberries.
I didn't know y'all like blueberries.
No, I hate blueberries.
I eat a couple of blueberries every day. That's what I was just eating when we were talking. I have my blueberries in my oatmeal.
So I put blueberries. I love blackberries. So I have blueberries, blackberries too. Spinach, a banana, cinnamon, and honey. That was my smoothie this morning.
That sounds good. Was it good?
It was delicious.
Wow.
It was.
Do you ever put peanut butter in there?
I have not put peanut butter in my smoothies yet. I don't like this. I love peanut butter, but I don't know. It's something about when it's blended and the smell, it takes over the smell of whatever it is it's in.
The peanut is strong. It's a strong.
And I'm like, I haven't gotten it yet. I have to work on that part. But I still love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I mean, I had one the other night, and I made on the toasted bread, and I had my tea, my echinacea tea.
Yes.
And I was up late with my investment group. Oh. And I was like, oh my God, it was like literally like 2:00 in the morning. We were still like working.
I told you, I need you to go to bed at night. You need to go. That's the other thing. Repackage your sleeping habits.
Wait, not to who I'm working with, my friend I'm working in the investment group. He was like, "Oh, you can't hang." Yeah, I need to hang with my bed. Okay,
Exactly. You need to repackage your relationship with sleeping and your bed. That's your task for this week.
Because once I get to the bed, but the other night, I said, once I get, but let me tell you, was it Monday night? I think it was Monday night. I went to bed early and I was doing something that I like was watching, but when I tell you I could not go to sleep, literally, when I went to sleep, it was 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God. See,
and it made my whole, and when I tell you, have my whole week, because I eventually fell asleep, but it was bright, it was sunny. So I woke up probably like about 12. So that just like,
so just a little side note, something about our sleep habits, right? And this repackaging that we're talking about. The things we do before we're ready to go to bed really affect how you go to sleep.
Yes.
It's really important. I know people think like stop watching the news at night, right? Yeah. You know, and stop watching things that really like get your psyche.
It's true.
Too much stimulation does not work. Just like not exercising too close to bedtime is not good. Drinking alcohol before going to bed is not good.
Yeah.
Too much sugar or eating heavy foods does not, or taking late naps in the daytime, not good for sleeping at night. But you got to learn how to relax your mind, your psyche before going to sleep. So, i.e., learn how to darken your rooms, buy blackout curtains for your room, turn off the TV, learn how to go to sleep in silence and in darkness, and then get yourself some oil infusers. Put on good smells, like relaxing smells in your room. Lavender, myrrh.
I put my lavender on my feet, like you told me, on my feet. I put it on my temples. Yes. I sprinkle it on my sheets.
Yes.
And I do have a diffusion my niece bought me, but I put it, the lavender, it didn't smell enough. But I just do it like that and put it on my hands, because I rest like this, so I can smell it. I put
lavender, good. And like she's just said, I told her you take 15 drops of lavender every night and you rub it on the bottom of your feet. Rub it on into your temples. You can even rub it on the back of your head. It really helps the body.
If you want to smell, put it on the tip of your nose.
Yeah, it really helps the body to relax.
Yeah, and then, it really does.
And if you can, buy yourself an Echo for your bedroom. And on that Echo, find yourself as many, sleep sounds. There are, like mine is ocean waves. I go to sleep to ocean waves all night. I keep my ocean waves playing all night. Or you can do rain, or you can do forest, or you can do, whatever that you think.
I do a meditation pattern that you get. It's a pattern of meditation.
Right. You can do white noise,
Exactly. So, I do that. I do rain. I had rain on. But last night, this first time I did rain, I had to keep running to the bathroom. So I'm not going to do rain anymore. I was like, the rain.
She's like, the water is not working for me. Okay, no. So learn how to repackage your relationship with your sleep as well. But if you're listening to Steph right now, if that's going to make you go to the restroom all night, that's not helpful.
I was like, what?
And speaking of the rain looks like it has not stopped, but it has stopped thundering and lightning, and the hail has stopped.
The sun came out.
It's
gonna be 75 degrees here today.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to repackage myself now to be able to go out into the elements for today. So I want to tell you all, great topic today, Steph. Thank you so much for doing that. That was great. It makes me think about all the things I really need to go and look at too about repackaging. So, look at the things that you need to focus on that you need repackaging, but repackage your relationships with whatever it is, whether it's people, your work, your sleep, your eating, how you take care of your mental health. Everything requires some repackaging. So,
and think happy thoughts.
And happy thoughts always.
Mind what you think about, because truly what you think about, you bring about. And so keep your vibration levels high.
Absolutely.
Really, it's really a good thing. Now people are like, did you see how bad it was over there? Like, no, I'm not gonna see it, because you're thinking good thoughts. Because it's really what you just be putting in your face. It's really true.
Right. So you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yes.
Enjoy it. Enjoy your time. And take some me time, take some
Oh,
downtime,
definitely me time.
take some time to sit down, put your feet up.
That's
I always say,
right.
you're relaxing if you can see your feet.
Yeah, I
I
do
told
that a
my
lot.
son that the other day. My son was laughing. He says, Mom, why are you laughing? I said, because I'm looking at my beautiful newly painted toes. And he says, what? I said, yeah, because you know what? When my feet are up, I know I'm relaxing.
Exactly. And I paint my
So
toes green too. So I have my
yeah,
green
look at
toes
your
up there.
feet. Take a look at your feet this weekend. That's a good thing. Look at your feet. And not looking down at your feet, looking up at your feet. So your feet, you can only look up at your feet if your feet are elevated. So look at your feet this weekend and enjoy yourself. So we thank you all so much.
Iris' son he is such a beautiful soul.
Yes,
And
he
that
is.
personality he has, oh my God.
God bless me real good.
He has that personality. I was like,
God
well,
bless me real good.
I guess like what Ronzo and Savannah are like, I mean, I can't, they pretty far apart in years, you
Yeah,
know.
Rhonda will be
So,
28 this year.
yeah, Savannah will be 22. So like you were mom, like I'd be around because when I met you, he
Yes.
was 1.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, he was a mess.
And
Okay.
he still is.
Oh, I know. I remember when you brought to my house for Thanksgiving, and
Yes.
then he didn't have a change of clothes. He had an accident or something. We used downstairs while he was watching. He had to wash his
Yes.
clothes. Things like
Yes.
that. Oh my God, I miss the personality though. Really great.
Yes. God
And he's
bless
a
me
nice
real
grown
good
man.
with
Yeah,
the blessing called Rondell James Owens.
yeah. I love him.
He is my baby.
Yes,
He's
he
a
is.
lovely soul. I always tell him, even if he was not my child, I would still love him.
Yes. And
Because
that's
that's
another
who
one.
he
We can
is.
talk about that on another show. That was what I
Yes.
wanted to talk about too, is if you weren't related to them, would you
Yes.
still
Yes.
have a wish?
That's true. I love that. We're gonna do it.
Yes, we are.
Well, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Be blessed. As you all know, Stephanie and I are both available. We are both coaches. We are life coaches. Stephanie is a style coach, divorce coach. I'm a life coach, period. I like to consider myself being an inspiration because I have to inspire myself every day in order to do what I do. And so I'd be happy to help you be inspired to do what you want to do and what you need to do. So, you know how to reach us, Spotify, The Autopsy of Her. You can email us at theautopsyofher@gmail.com. And we just are here. And we really thank you all for tuning in all the time. We love you all. Have a blessed weekend. Love you, honey bunny.
Love you, honey buddy. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah. Amen. Bye-bye.
Bye.